Welcome back to the news at 10. The Federal Executive Council has approved 28 billion naira for engineering infrastructure in the Wasa district of Abuja, in Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. The meeting of the council members was presided over by the Vice President, Namadi Sambo, in the absence of President Goodluck Jonathan, who is currently attending the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Briefing journalists after the meeting, the Minister of State for the Federal Capital Territory, Olajumoke Akinjide, the Information Minister, Labaran Mako, told journalists that the approval of the contract is in line with the federal government's continued efforts to provide infrastructure and affordable housing in the FCT. A contract which includes the provision of sidewalks, culverts, sewage, electrical and street lighting, road work, drainage, among other infrastructure, was awarded with a completion period of 48 months. And just when normalcy seemed to be returning to the health sector after the Nigerian Medical Association strike, the joint health sector unions nationwide have also embarked on a 3-day warning strike. Channels Television visited some government health facilities in Lagos and in Ogun states, where services were skeletal at best, and even doctors stayed away. A story was the same in the north. Johisu is demanding that the federal government begin to implement the provisions of the ruling of the National Industrial Court of Nigeria. These include consultancy status and specialist allowances, promotion of their members, review of retirement age from 60 to 65 years in tertiary health institutions, among others.
Once again, Nigerians are being made to face the situation that a strike in one of the essential services throws the nation into. Skeletal and incomplete medical services, empty halls and locked doors. That's what you see at most public hospitals across the country. From the north to the south, workers under the joint health sector unions have downed tools.
Only the doctors, because there's other things they were supposed to do, that they say that no nurses and all the rest of the people working with them.
Nothing is going to happen in our various hospitals until the government do the right thing.
They say the disagreement is with the federal government, but doctors are inextricably woven into this fabric of discontent.
Some start at 8, some start at 9, depending on the number of years you spend in school. As at by 3rd of January this year, the Minister of Health and all other stakeholders, they decided to give the doctors another salary structure that made them not to start on cohorts 14.
In as much as the whole request has gone through a court process, it is not an issue of negotiating. It is question of implementation. Just issue a circular and save the souls of Nigerians.
A publication by the Federal Ministry of Health has described Johesu's allegations as untrue and has gone on to catalogue the issues that it has addressed in line with the National Industrial Court's judgment. It appears the federal government has a complex job on its hands, one of satisfying its workers in the health sector, and another of making sure the different factions of the health workers are not jealous of each other's benefits to break this vicious cycle of strikes.
First Bank, truly the first.
Time for business news now. Jackie Rogers joins us with more on the World Economic Forum.
Thank you so much, Amachi. The Group Managing Director of First Bank of Nigeria Holdings PLC, Mr. Bisi Onosoya, has raised concerns about the CBN's new cash reserve requirement on public sector deposits, which is now 75%. Mr. Onosoya, who was reacting to the decision by the Monetary Policy Committee, told Channels Television on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos that Nigeria's Apex Bank needs to start balancing the effects of its monetary policies as diminishing liquidity is being felt in the commercial banks.
In the
face of the developments in the Nigerian environment, where you see dwindling oil revenues, you begin to see a massive amount of funds, liquidity put into the system by the redemption of the AMCON bonds. I was not surprised that Central Bank and the MPC went through that route of tightening. My worry, however, is that at some point we need to begin to balance the effect of this monetary policy tightening effect and the growth of the real sector of the economy. Now, by pulling out some of those funds and increasing the public sector deposits that is sterilized in Central Bank, obviously it will reduce liquidity in the banking system. There's always a tension and debate as to whether banks really lend this liquidity into the system, but the reality is that it's worse not to have the liquidity in the banking system. So I am not surprised, and in the absence of any other tool for a regime that has insisted that they will continue to tighten so long as there is excess liquidity in the system, one should not be surprised. We need to go back, however, and say, what more things do we need to do to make sure that as we tighten, we don't starve the system of the so much liquidity that is required now to drive growth in the real sector of the economy.
BC Onosoya, GMD, First Bank Holdings PLC. Lack of infrastructure is one of the major challenges preventing seamless bilateral trade relations among African countries. Well, these are some of the concerns raised by President Goodluck Jonathan at the World Economic Forum. Speaking to Channels Television after one of the panel sessions, the President revealed some of the strategies being put in place by African leaders to address the issues of bilateral relations on the continent.
Between 1958 and 1965 or so, most of the African countries gained independence. Of course, Nigeria was 1960, Ghana 1958. Then we get into very short-lived administrations that had no time to plan. If we encourage trade within Africa, what a Ghanaian eats is similar to what maybe a Nigerian eats, and it's easier for us to trade, especially at some level of commodities. But just as I mentioned there, one of the greatest limitations is not those political decisions, but the infrastructure, the transportation infrastructure. To move from one African country to another is so difficult. The only places you can easily move from Nigeria to South Africa to Nigeria to Ethiopia, Egypt, some of these countries. But in Africa we have 54 countries. Some of them, to get to these countries, you have to pass through Europe, you have to pass through Asia before you get into Africa.
President Goodluck Jonathan speaking on the sidelines of the World Economic Forum there. We'll have daily updates from those meetings during the course of the forum. Now let's take a look at Nigeria's closing figures, the stock market closing figures. Loretta Chioga brings us the midweek trade.
Hello and welcome to Stock Market Report. Tonight, now midweek trading at the equities markets was low as the key index slipped back into negative territory. The benchmark index drifted lower to 41,469.94 points after shedding 1.10%. The market's capitalization also shed rates, closing down at 13.28 trillion naira. Investors gave Nestle, Nigerian Breweries and First Bank of Nigeria Holdings the cold shoulder as they emerged Wednesday's top losers. Equities that stayed above water was Forte Oil with a 7 naira 81 kobo gain, followed by Julius Berger, which added 4 naira 90 kobo to its share value. The most traded stocks for the session include UBA, Transnational Corporation of Nigeria, and also First Bank of Nigeria Holdings. When trading came to a halt, over 327 million units were traded for 3.37 billion naira and over 6,000 deals. And that's the Stock Market Report. I'm Loretta Chiogo.
Thank you, Loretta. Nutrisima, a subsidiary of PZ Cousins and makers of Coast, Nunu and Olympic range of evaporated and powdered milk, has unveiled its mega cash promo reward for existing and new customers. The managing director of the company, Mr. Sunil Vasudevan, at the official launch in Lagos says that the promo is designed to help replenish the purses of Nigerians who've used a lot of their products during the festive season. Our correspondent Henry Ogunjimi reports.
Guests, including distributors of Nutricima products and journalists, witnessed the official unveil of the Nutricima Mega Cash promo in Lagos. It's the beginning of a new year, one with different challenges. An opportunity the company says it is taking to reward consumer loyalty.
It is the time of the year when all people in the country have actually spent all their money, and a lot of it has been spent on buying products similar to ours. We have felt that it is important that we as a company and a responsible citizen of the nation should be able to reward our consumers and give back to them in terms of a promotion which will reward them for using our products.
The rewards range from e-top-ups of airtime to cash prizes of 500 to 1 million naira for thousands of consumers across the country.
You buy either of these products and then you get a number, a PIN code on this product alongside a serial number. You send this to a dedicated phone number which we have on the packs, and then you get an IVR response, you get a voice response that will direct you on how to retrieve your winnings. So at the end of the day, you can go to the bank, and retrieve your money from any Zenith bank, and get your cash immediately.
Apart from the fact that we have a well thought out plan in terms of the route to market, which is through our distributors and through them to the retail channels. We also have a vibrant network across the country, so in every part of Nigeria you will find our products, and so it's part of our mission to ensure to deliver our products to the doorsteps of our consumers.
Nutricima says the initiative is also to prove that it is not only concerned about making profit, but also enriching lives of its consumers. Henry Ogunjimi, Channels Television News.
That's it on Business News. On the news at 10, Amarachi returns shortly with the rest of the news.
Truly the first.
Still ahead of the news at 10, Federer sets up a mouth-watering semi-final clash with Rafa Nadal. That's on Sports News. Do join us again.